You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel.
Can I leave this?
This is another of those moments that never fails to astound.
I want this to be a surprise. They don't know that I know. I don't want them to know that I know. You know what I mean?
At this point, I'm sure my eyes had started to glaze over. It was a bit like the day when the electricity engineer started to explain.
Water is the biggest enemy. I hate the stuff. It gets everywhere. It seeps into every crevice and nook. It's a constant struggle. Moisture. Don't even go there. It's a losing battle from beginning to end.
And then there are the strange ones.
Is that Buckingham Palace?
No, I'm afraid not.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You sound like you could be Buckingham Palace.
Well, that is very kind of you, but this is not the home of the Queen.
Are you sure?
As sure as I can be of anything.
Because I've rung before.
Yes, you rang yesterday.
And this isn't Buckingham Palace?
That is correct.
So this is Buckingham Palace?
No, this is not Buck House.
Is this the Tower of London?
No.
Hampton Court?
Sorry.
What about Blackpool Pleasure Beach?
Of course, what she really needed were the Samaritans. In my line of work, loneliness is a constant problem. Not mine. I seem so infrequently to get the chance to be lonely. But there are others that have loneliness thrust upon them. Those desperate for someone, anyone, to talk to. I suppose it awaits us all. We give such large portions of our lives over to the prospect of making money for others. Sometimes I think it's all life seems to be about. One is born, one dies, and in between we struggle to pay the gas bill. We also struggle with some of the strange characters that life throws up.
I could have been a dancer.
He couldn't. He's not twice the size of any dancer I've ever seen. He's at least 3 or 4 times the size.
You see, I can't get my leg up any higher than this. Ow!
And that was clearly high enough.
I had a fall in my youth.
So not recently, then?
So now I have to rub oil into that part just to keep it supple.
I could only imagine.
Do you want to see?
Imagining was bad, but to see the source of the problem, well, people have been psychologically scarred for life for less.
Maybe I can show you next time.
Oh, thank you. I look forward to that. The sad truth is that when we are no longer in the centre of someone else's world, the world will move on, and no one will care whether we're alive or dead. It's the absurdities of life that either keep us going or wear us down.
Hello, it's me again.
Oh, hello. It's Miss French, isn't it?
Well remembered.
It's not really well remembered. I just remember her from before when she latched onto an actor that was staying with us.
Can you do me a favour?
Well, I can try.
Edward Carr is in town again. The star of The Hunter's Gallery, Attack Force 2 The Revenge.
All straight to DVD and YouTube.
And The Maiden of Death. He wasn't a maiden, by the way.
I never thought he was.
Did you see any of his films?
I'm more of a Radio 4 man myself.
Oh, he was magnificent. In one film, he played a psychopath who would destroy anyone who didn't do as he was told.
I met quite a few that would fit that description.
He had such a range, such diversity, such an actor.
I'd seen him in a couple of coffee commercials. I thought he was okay, but I didn't buy the coffee.
He's staying here, isn't he? It was on the radio. I heard about it this morning. The internet is full of it.
To which I wanted to add, yes, it is. But I didn't.
When he arrives, will you introduce us?
Who's us? I ask, seeing only the 2 of us in the hotel reception.
What I mean is, me.
Didn't you meet him before? It was raining. He brought you into the hotel.
But that was months ago.
Actually, about 3.
He might have forgotten all about me.
I suppose he might have. Don't actors have to have good memories? I mean, they have lots of words to remember, I would have thought. I mean, I'm sure he will remember you.
But he's very famous. I'm sure he must be surrounded by people telling him what they think of him.
I'm sure he is. After all, there never seems to be any shortage of those ready to tell me what they think of me, as the plumber said only the other day.
Have you seen the state of room 205? Again! Do you make this stuff up?
You're such a nice man.
I don't want to clog up the entrance. It's weak, I know even then, but I didn't know what else to say.
I won't be in the way. Anyway, there's plenty of space for other people to get past. Thank you. There isn't anyone that is as nice as you are and would help me.
Well, not in the reception of this hotel at this time, there isn't, no.
So when Mr. Carr arrives, introduce us. I won't take up much of his time.
Oh, go and get a life, is what I wanted to say, but of course I didn't. Well, I will do the best I can. And then right on cue, in he comes. And as much as I had hoped to dislike him a second time, I couldn't. He was actually quite nice. Polite, kind, generous with his time. He spoke to her like a long-lost friend. He listened to her. He asked her about herself. He seemed genuinely interested. He was, in effect, every bit the star she hoped, and evidently believed that he was.
Look, sadly, dear lady, I'm rather busy at the moment, but if you come again, let this gentleman know, and he can always buzz up to my room, and I'll come down and say hello.
He shakes her hand and leaves. My guess at the time is that he gives this whole episode no more than a second thought. Miss French, of course, gives it a second, a third, a fourth, and even a fifth thought. That was how it started. Or restarted, as the case was. Innocently enough, you might say. No harm intended, just trying to do the decent thing, the nice thing, trying to be all things to everyone. Of course, it was damned from the start.
Now, the plan, Governor, is to repaint all of the area in the spring.
Well, which spring? It can't be this year. Spring has already departed.
No, the powers that be have already indicated possibly next year.
Which is what they said last year, and the year before that.
We're going to go right through here and into the restaurants.
Oh, that should be nice. And what colour will it be?
Oh, same colour.
Musty yellow. Again.
Apparently, my governor's got tins of the stuff back in the warehouse.
So I could wait until the spring, as I have waited for the last decade, and then the finished walls will look exactly as they did before. If that is not a metaphor for life, I don't know what is. I was secretly hoping for something a bit classier this time.
Oh, like what?
I want to say gold leaf. I want to compare the glory of the reception to that of Solomon's temple. I want to suggest that the reception should be as an example of the rest of the hotel, that if this is what the reception looks like, then what must the rest of the building be like? I have to tell you that when guests see the reception, I see it in their eyes. They are indeed asking themselves that very same question. I was thinking something that caught the character of the place more accurately.
What have you got in mind?
I seized the moment. Do you have any carry-on wallpaper? I could really see Sid James in the role of the manager.
Well, if you're going to make a joke out of it, sometimes I don't know why I bother.
Sometimes neither do I. And then I am reminded.
I know, I'm back.
Miss French, it's nice to see you again. To what do I owe this pleasure?
Edward will be down any time, I think.
Oh? How do you know?
I've timed it.
Timed it? Timed what?
The length of time it takes to walk from the hotel to the theatre. I've made the trip myself. I walked it yesterday in the rain and the wind, and then again this morning in the sunshine. It took me 30 minutes door to door.
But he has longer legs than you. Anyway, he might not go the same way. He might have taken a different route. How can you possibly know that he has taken the same path as you?
Because I saw him.
You saw him?
I followed him. Not like that. What I meant was that I was going home yesterday and then all of a sudden I noticed him walking further up the street. In fact, I'd just been to the shops on the high road.
You live off the high road?
No. Over an orderly.
But that's the other side of town. How come you ended up in the direction of the theatre?
I took a wrong turn.
I should say. So she knew his schedule and his movements.
I just wondered, had he come down yet?
Well, I've not seen him myself.
Oh, right. Then he'll have to come out this way.
Unless
Yes?
he decides to go out via a side exit.
Oh.
I suddenly feel bad. I knew even as I said it that I shouldn't. It was a moment of power, I suppose. A moment in which someone else's dream is in your hands, and in that very moment I had, deliberately, tried to dash that very hope against a rock. Or something equally worse. But I could see how this was going to play out. I would be the one left nursing a besotted fan long after the circus had left town. And the truth was, I couldn't be bothered. No one ever gets enthusiastic about the hopes, plans, and dreams of others. It's their own dreams they follow with a passion. In truth, we are all only ever fascinated with ourselves, which is bad enough. But when you meet someone fascinated with the life of another, that just seems a little bit sad. Then again, all guests are meant to enter and leave only via the official reception area. I mean, there's a sign around somewhere.
Oh, then in that case, I'll just wait here a few minutes. You never know.
And you never do. But you do, after a while, start to notice a pattern developing.
Sally!
Edward!
Here you are again.
I was just passing.
Which I suspect is a lie, but I keep it to myself.
How good to see you.
Did you notice me in the audience last night?
I caught you out of the corner of my eye.
I thought you were wonderful.
I'm only one of the company. There are 6 of us in the show.
No one could play the part of the Colonel like you.
And after seeing him in those coffee commercials, I suspect she is right.
That is very kind.
The way you gave the final speech.
Oh?
When you were talking about your wife leaving you. It brought a lump to my throat. A tear to my eye.
And a pain in the...
That is a very sad bit of the play.
So, watching you every night,
Every night?
it helps me deal with the trials and tribulations of day to day.
I am touched, Sally, that you felt you could share that with me. I feel honoured.
Can I have a picture?
Don't you already have a picture?
I meant a picture of you and me.
Of course.
And then she turns to me.
Would you take the picture? You just press that button on top.
She hands me the camera and places her arm around his waist.
Thank you.
This is a level of closeness that the original previous photograph was meant to protect him from.
Put your arm around me, Ed.
Ed, as he has now become, reluctantly complies. I raise the camera and flash.
One more, just for luck.
And I perform the honours a second time.
Well, thank you both, but I really must now be going.
Here is your camera back.
I'm going to put that on my Facebook page.
Oh, thank you.
It will take pride of place.
That is very good of you.
The main, best event of the week.
Once again.
I'm going to let all my contacts know.
Oh, and how many contacts do you have?
In a world of endorsements and friends and contacts, Edward suddenly sees advertising for his show and himself.
6.
There is a moment's pause. The expression upon his face makes it clear that Edward, or Ed, as Miss French now calls him, is less than impressed.
Well, jolly good for you.
And with that, he swiftly makes for the door. Miss French looks around and, seeing only me, finally takes back her camera.